Good morning, welcome to Furry and Spoilt. Today I'm going to be talking to you about dog arthritis and how exercise helps it. I'm very excited about this and what I found out because it's really going to be able to help Humps here with his arthritis. So I'm going to take my boys out for a walk now. When I get back, I'm going to tell you about all the things I found out about it. It's very exciting. It's really, really interesting. If your dog's got arthritis, it's really, really worth listening to. Even if it hasn't got arthritis, it's so beneficial. So I'll take them out now and I'll speak to you in a bit. Okay, I've researched it and it's really, really interesting. Now it gets a little bit complicated, so I'm going to try and keep this as simple as I can. So, first of all, exercise is absolutely vital. That is what I've learned. Really, really important. So, do you remember we talked about before when I talked about what arthritis is? You've got the bone, and then over the top of the bone there is cartilage, and that is a like a spongy product that stops the bones bashing together. It protects the bones. Well, inside the bone, the top of the inside of the bone, there is a thing called a synovial membrane. And that membrane produces synovial liquid. And that liquid fluid goes through into the cartilage on the top of the bone, which cushions the bone and stops the bones bashing together. The cartilage is porous, so at all times that fluid is leaking through it. When the cartilage doesn't have any of the fluid, the cartilage goes thin and eventually wears away, and therefore stops protecting the bones, and therefore the bones are bashing together, which causes the pain. And exercise produces the liquid that goes into the cartilage. There is no other way for the body to produce the liquid. Only exercise produces it. And that is why exercise helps so much for dogs with arthritis. It's vital. And this is making real sense to me, because the rescue centre in Korea, where Humps came from, have said on his papers that he's 5 years old. And I've really doubted that. But now I'm starting to think it could be true, because so arthritis can come from wear and tear, and I get that, and I can see that, years of the bones bashing together, the cartilage wears away. But what I think has happened with Humps is the exact opposite. He has been kept in a cage all of those 5 years, and therefore he has not exercised. If he hasn't exercised, the bones haven't produced the liquid, which have then gone to the cartilage, which have kept the cartilage thick, and therefore protected his bones. So by having a lack of exercise, he's had a lack of the fluid, which therefore means the cartilage is worn away, which therefore means that the bones are just bashing bone on bone, and therefore he has arthritis. So rather than it being wear and tear with Humps, I can see how it's the exact opposite, and it's completely where he hasn't done any exercise, and therefore that has all happened. So that might got a bit complicated. I tried to keep it as uncomplicated as I could. The basics of it is exercise lubricates the joints. It's that simple, and there is no other way to do it. So that's that. I think that's really interesting and really good. However, how you exercise, you can undo all the damage. So if you're doing exercise where the dog is having to bash down on the joints, so anything running is not ideal. And that's quite hard for us, because Humps will suddenly just take off running. And it's so wonderful to see, because 2 months ago when we got him, I was scared he was going to have a heart attack just by walking, a few houses down. So to see him now take off and run across a field with my other dogs is great. But you do need to keep that, you got to keep that a bit in balance. Now, I'm not going to stop him doing it. He absolutely loves doing it, and it's helping him bond with my other dogs. But I do need to make sure that it's kept under control, and that there isn't just loads of running and running and running. If he does it now and again, that's fine, but I just need to keep that under control. What all the researchers said is what I always thought was, that you don't want to be doing long walks with the exercise. So what we do is we take the boys out for an hour in the morning, and that is a mix of walking but also just sitting and watching the world go by. And it's really important that the ground that you're walking on is even, because if it's got rocks on it, or it's up or downhill, or it's slippery, or there's lots of twigs and it's just not even, the dog's having to place his legs in awkward positions, and that may cause pain. So they need to be walked on really flat land. I do a combination of grass walking and concrete walking so that it wears down his nails, because clipping his nails, because he's so, the back, if they've got arthritis, it's going to hurt a bit. And so to avoid that, I'm doing a combination of road walking and field walking to keep his nails down. So it is really important what kind of exercise you do. And also the other thing is that with older dogs, it isn't all about the exercise. It is also about just getting them out. So sometimes we'll just go out and sit somewhere like in town or somewhere like that, just where they can watch people and people come and say hello to them. And it's just really nice for them to just get out and get some stimulation and not just be stuck in the house all the time. But now I know about this with the exercise, and I know that it's so important, because without the exercise, you're not lubricating the joints. And from what I can see, all the supplements, all the other videos I've done, this one is by far the most important, because it by itself builds up the cartilage, which cushions the joints. So whilst, the supplements are vitally important as well, and I will always be doing them, the supplements will get you nowhere if you're not doing the exercise. Exercise is everything, and so I think that's really, really important. Just want to check my notes, make sure I haven't missed anything. Obviously, exercise is really good for sorting out the weight, so it gets their weight down. Be careful with throwing toys, because when they get to the point where they've got to the ball, they jump up and they come down and all of that. That's really not good for the joints. So don't be doing that kind of exercise. And the other thing that I think is really worth noting is that adrenaline, if they get excited, adrenaline will flood their body, and that sometimes stops them feeling pain. And so it could be that they're pushing themselves more, they're pushing through pain. And so it may be that like the next day or whatever, they really suffer. So that's just something to bear in mind. Really important with the exercise is that it's kept so that you do the same exercise every day. Don't be doing a 10-minute walk every day and then be doing a long walk at the weekend, because that's really not going to help them. They need this fluid to be released into their body every day. And so what we do is, at the weekends, we are out with them a lot more. We've got more time. But I don't do a load more walking. We'll just go, maybe we'll go out, but we'll go somewhere for lunch and they can sit and watch the world go by and stuff like that. So they are out for longer with us, and we want to get out, and my boys are always with me. So it's just quite important that you just don't, weekends are really long walks. And this goes back to choosing the right dog for you when you choose a dog. If you're going to be a family that's off hiking, you don't want an older dog that's got arthritis and stuff. Something that is important is getting in and out of the car. So if you put your dogs in the car to take them for a walk, then really be aware that they might, jumping out of cars in particular is bad. And something else I think is really important to remember is that as your dog gets older with arthritis, is that if they swimming's great for arthritis, and it's great for producing this lubricant I'm talking about. But what's really important is that you remember that they might get into the water like they did when they were young, but their arthritic legs might mean that it gets very hard for them to get out, and that could obviously be very dangerous. I'm just looking at my notes just to see if there's anything else that. This is really important actually. Let me move around so you can see them from the front. The muscles. So when a dog has got arthritis, especially with Humps here, when he came to us, his legs were so thin and they used to shake just if he was standing up. But what we've done is with the exercises, we've built up the muscles, and that you can just see what an improvement that has made. I always wish I had taken a video of when we first got him walking. I didn't, because I was just so worried. He was just such a worry to me when we first. He still is a worry, aren't they? Always a worry. But back then, I just wish I'd taken a video, because His legs were really, really thin and really, really shaky. And now his back legs have got a good muscle on them. There's a good thick muscle there now. And so that in itself will help the bones, because he's not just relying on the joints to do the movement, but the muscle can do the movement. And that's really important in helping them, so that not all the strain is on the joints. But I just think that's so important, so interesting, and it's just so vital that every day they get that exercise. And definitely, I definitely see it with him. When we first get out, he's a little bit slow, and then as we get going, he really, that's when he starts his moving about fast and stuff. And so that's, now I know why, because it's producing that fluid, the synovial fluid, is being produced as he's exercising. So as he's exercising, the cartilage is just getting thicker and thicker, and making it easier for his joints so they're not bashing together. I think it's absolutely, I'm just so glad I researched that, because I always knew exercise was good. I could see that it was. But now I really know it is. It's just really nice to know what's happening and to be able to help him with him. So that's everything. So as always, if you've got any questions, pop them into comments. Instagram and Twitter, much more active on Twitter than Instagram. All under Furry and Spoilt, #Furry and Spoilt. And yeah, can you, as always, if you've got an arthritic dog and your experience of it, anything I've missed out, let me know. I'm going to be researching next. I keep coming up about eggs. Part of eggs being really bad for dogs, other parts of eggs being really good for the joints. So I'm going to research that next week, and I will let you know how I got on with that. I think that's it. It's just very, very interesting. So thank you very much for watching. I hope that you have a really lovely week, and I'll see you next Thursday. Goodbye.